Chair seat. What is it? Why do we call it chair seat and not toilet seat or sofa seat? When we as humans rest, we sit down and put all our weight on our butt, on the back and our feet is in front. But the chair doesn't move. My chair doesn't do walk, trot, canter. So if we would sit on a horse in the chair seat and the horse bolts, I would fall backwards, or I clamp with my knees, or I hold in the reins. So it's very, very important to avoid the chair seat for your own safety and for the well-being of the animal. So you always want to do what nature intended to do for you. If you're standing, you are balanced yourself off the feet. I have 2 grandchildren right now, and they're toddlers. And when they're running through the house, they only walk on the ball of the foot. Same with people who hunt barefoot through the woods. They're running on the ball of the foot. So in other words, if the ball of the foot and your sternum is aligned, if you're a jockey, if you're a jumper, if you're a dressage rider, if you're Western riders, you're in balance. Okay? Soon as your feet in front of you and behind you, you have to grip, you have to clamp on the saddle, otherwise you fall over. So a chair seat will give the horse the feel, why is he clamming here? What's going on? So another thing, what happens to the horse when you're in the chair seat, they're going to go in tremendous pain. You say, why would the horse be in the pain if my leg is in front of me? Because now you're bouncing around to the back of his back. All the pressure goes to the rib area, which are not connected to the sternum. Super hard for the horse to balance you and to keep you in balance, right? So, and keep you supported. Too much pressure into the horse. The horse's back can't bring the back up. The hind leg cannot step underneath if the back doesn't get out of the way. And you can kiss the legs bye-bye. The holy grail of riding is what? Get the back up, get the hind leg underneath, so the horse with your weight on top can lift the front to get the weight off the forehand. That's the holy grail. Protect these horses in their ligaments, in their joints, and the tendons. So in a standing seat, it's not a chair seat what we riders desire, right? We desire the standing seat. There's many, many good literature out there. But for me today, to explain to you, you want to sit on your saddle or on your horse as if you're standing. And that's why we call it standing seat. So now, if you are standing in your stirrup leathers, you would never be able to do a 2-point if your leg would be forward, like in the chair seat, right? It's impossible. So when you're standing up, the feet are underneath you. Otherwise, you can't. So if we look from the angle of, it's really bad for the horse, really bad for me, I either cramp into the knee roll and I hold with my knees, or I fall back into the horse if I'm in the chair seat. So what makes you go into the chair seat? Because we all agree we don't want to be in the chair seat. Why are you in the chair seat? Either the saddle puts you there because you only looked at, I need a 17.5-inch seat. That's one of 9 measurements you need. There's 9 measurements we need in order to fit the rider's pelvis and legs, not just one, the seat size. So if one of the 9 measurements are not right, it is physically impossible for you to form your body to get in that desired standing seat. It will put you in the chair seat. It's uncomfortable for you and horrible uncomfortable for the horse. Let me give you an example. You can try this at home. You can go in that Tai Chi stand. What's the Tai Chi stand? Okay, you put your legs apart, let's say 24 inches. You put your hands in front like that, approximately chest high. And then you bend your knees and pretend any minute somebody will come and push you from the back, push you from the side, push you from the front. So ground yourself as good as you can. And I guarantee you, if you play that movie in your mind, how and who pushes you forward, you will put a lot of weight in the ball of the foot. Just like my little babies do right now. They balance themselves on the ball of the foot. You will also do the same what people who run through the forest and hunt barefoot. Why are they so quiet? Because they land on the ball of the foot first and softly absorb the shock with the heel. Hello? We all heard that in the riding lesson, right? Heels down. And we have our weight in the stirrup iron on the ball of the foot. What a concept. Oh, I'm nice and soft in my connection to the horse. So when you're standing like this Tai Chi person, you only have to now turn your hand and pretend you have reins in your hand. And that's your standing seat. The standing seat is Tai Chi on horses, except you do walk, trot, canter on a moving platform rather than standing on concrete, right? So it is absolutely important that to avoid that chair seat for every possibility. Here's another cool example you can do. So you need to do that with somebody you really, really trust. So you grab each other's hands, okay? And then you move forward so each other's toes touch, so you're looking at each other. And then you lean backwards and extend your arm. Now you really need to trust that person, right? Because now you feel very vulnerable. What you will notice, you got super tight with your hands because you do not want to let go, because you know you're going to fall on your butt. You break your tailbone. You might even crack your lower back. You're like deathly afraid now because you're severing your inner ears. That's where you keep your balance. So my sternum is now really far back from the ball of the foot. So now go in a squat. Bend down. So now you're holding yourself. Look how I'm sitting here. Right? You're holding yourself like that, and your thigh muscle is vibrating, and you're holding tight. Imagine somebody would come and says, "Hey, don't pinch with your thighs so much." You would look at them and says, "Easy for you to say. I don't want to break my tailbone." Or they would say, "Don't rip in the horse's face so hard. Let the reins go." You will never let go, because you know at this vulnerable position, when you're squatting, you're holding on, your thigh is on fire, your neck is forward, you're looking like a chicken when you're shot. I mean, this is crazy. I mean, who can ride like this? You would never let go. And that's why some people put themselves in such a vulnerable position. They're gripping with the thighs, they're holding on the horse's face. Why? Do this example. Go back to your Tai Chi. Stand in front of your partner. Go in your Tai Chi position. Hold your hands like this. Put two fingertips. Touch each other fingertips. Go down. And you will see you are totally balanced. You can touch the reins, your partner's hands. Simulate the reins, right? You're soft in your thigh. You don't put your lower back in spasm. What a concept. So if the horse would bolt or run away, you could actually, in that Tai Chi stand, you could actually try to spin around your own axis. And you would see how easy that is. As, wow, the horse is bolt or spins or bucks. It's very, very, very easy for you to stay on board. The second you in that chair seat position, the horse does one spook, whoop, you're off like that. All right? So why do we want to avoid chair seat? Because it's super vulnerable, your safety. It is super bad for your muscles, skeleton, long-term damage to your body, and it's very painful to the horse, extremely painful. So if you're in the chair seat, try not to deform your body by trying to get your bones rebent where they don't bend, and trying to make it fit in a unit we call saddle when it's not your dimension. Get your saddle fitted all the 9 steps to avoid the chair seat at any given time. We want a standing seat, a Tai Chi standing seat. The only difference between standing and riding is in standing you have to weight on your feet. In riding you have to weight on your seat bone while you maintain the 4 curves on your back the way nature intended to do. So let me just reiterate the importance how to correct the chair seat and not going into the chair seat for your purpose and the horse's purpose. Okay? So, the correct balance seat is when you move with the movement of the horse or the right part of the horse's back. What has that to do with chair seat, you ask yourself? Let me put it in a different way. When I was riding, it was very important where I come from that most of the riders had to do at least one course in vaulting. Vaulting is gymnastic on horses. So when you sit on a horse bareback, like on a vaulting horse, your seat, they teach you to hold on the handle, and they want you very, very straight. And they ask you to really stretch your arms out as far as you can, do this movement, put your arms forward, move your arms, and learn the independent seat. And while you do that, your toes and your knees are really out. You almost look like you do have first position in ballet. You really have your toes out. So the way we accomplish a good seat and a good riding, all disciplines, is in this Tai Chi stand or standing seat I was talking about. So when you learn how to ride a horse without a saddle, you know immediately where the sweet spot is, the quiet spot, where the rodeo rider sits, the bullfighter sits, the jumper sits. Most people know, oh, this is the spot I want to be because it's the least amount of bouncing and the safest to be. So now your job is to cut your weight in half. That doesn't mean you have to starve yourself and stop eating. That means that you use your 7 shock absorptions nature has given you. So how do you correct an unbalanced seat to a balanced seat? Just think about it. You have 4 curves in your spine. Why do we have them? So when we run and walk, your spine gives us the upright posture and absorbs the impact. So when you sit on the horse, what does this and walk? A little faster and trot, and this in canter, you don't want to sit on the bouncy part, you want to sit where it's quiet, where the rodeo rider sits. So now, do you want to be rigid like a jackhammer, or do you want to absorb, if this would be your spine, with your 4 curves, that position? Try to do that movement with your hand when you sit like this, and this being your butt and this being your leg. Impossible. You gotta have an upright spine and let nature do its job. What a beautiful idea. So now, from that unbalanced seat, you over your leg. And all of you probably had that done the same, where the instructor grabs your thigh and moves that leg around, and you sit in there and, oh my God, my hips kill me now. That just is a clear sign, if the coach has to do this to correct your unbalanced seat, by rotating your muscles or forcing your leg in one or the other way, that the equipment you're sitting on is completely wrong. I love downhill skiing. Right? I like to take risks, but I would never do that in a ski boot, what completely cripples my foot, or where my toes are curled underneath, or they cause so much pain. I would not ski in any kind of a boot like that. And even the baby hill, I wouldn't ski like this. But yet I see very often, like I said in the beginning of this webinar, how people sit like on the sofa on the saddle. Not because they are horrible athletes or they don't care about themselves or the horse, because they sit in equipment was wrong. If you have to be manipulated your body to sit there, the equipment doesn't let you do it. Okay? It's as simple as that, full stop. So if you have equipment what lets you to do, sit upright, and now you have 4 curves in your spine. You have your hip, your knee, and your ankle. These are your shock absorptions. These shock absorption will take the impact to the horse, and that is what brings it down to, guess what? Half your weight. So you can be a light rider, 120 pounds, and ride like a jackhammer. It's like a 250-pound rider sits, or you can be a heavy rider and be a light rider, a soft rider, by having a standing seat and using your 7 shock absorptions. So thank you very much for watching this webinar today, and please try those exercises. It's mind-blowing. And here's the best part: try it with somebody who is a rider, obviously, who hasn't seen this website, this webinar, right? Let them feel to do this holding on, leaning back, go squat. Let them feel how hard it is to hold that, right? And then you do the other exercise I explained. And when they really, really like it, says, wow, what's that about? Send them to our YouTube channel or to our webinar and let them see this webinar. It's so helpful for the horse. Now you ask yourself, why do I give all this free content away? Why do I do it? Because that's my calling. That's my passion. I want to help horses and riders from long-term damage. And as long as you sit in the chair seat, which is absolutely not okay and never should be done, you will hurt yourself and the horse long-term. The horse shows faster pain than you. Now, the horse is also a master in hiding pain, so he may not say, "Ow, it hurts, you're in the chair seat again." You know, they're just trying to compensate for it. So, if you like what you see, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell for more free content. If you don't like what you see, don't tell anybody. But I'm sure you enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see you next time. Till then, looking forward to save a lot of horses with you and spreading the word.